Alright, I don't know, I'm trying to get this set out. How, does this sound good? Nobody's answering me. Nobody's listening to this. I'm doing this by myself in my fucking parents' basement, alright? That's how this fucking works. This hiss is driving me fucking nuts, though. I don't even know if this is loud enough. I don't know if any of this is good. I don't know what's going on here. Is life real? Who are we? Who am I? Alright, fuck. I don't know. I might need new fucking podcast gear because all this shit was free. As you hear me fucking with the microphone. And, you know, I don't know how to do noise reduction on Audacity because I don't know how to fucking work any of this goddamn shit, but I'm doing it anyways, alright? Fuck, alright, yeah, welcome to, this doesn't say, is that the right angle? Is that the right angle? Is that the right angle? I don't know. This microphone is a fucking pain in the goddamn ass to work. Because it's like, I have to say like a specific fucking angle to talk into it to make it sound good at all, but there's no way for me to sit comfortably in the chair I'm in right now and with the microphone mounted to the goddamn table the way it is for me to even enjoy doing this for the next 45 to goddamn minutes to an hour. But I'm gonna do it anyways because, you know what? I'm dedicated to the 40 to 50 fucking people who are listening to this. Who are probably, you know, not the actual audience that I want it to go to because, you know, you're not a bunch of strangers who I'm never going to have to speak to in my goddamn life, alright? You're a bunch of people I probably know. And I don't really want, you know, any fucking listening to me. But I'm thankful, you know. Makes me look better if it has more than 0 as the numbers that I'm putting out, you know. And I'm not going to post any of my stand-ups. So this is the best you're going to fucking get, guys. This is the best you're going to get, okay? Welcome to another episode of the Comedy's Dead podcast. I am your host, Josh Goldstein. I meant to turn on the goddamn red side. Oh, fuck. I can't do that because it goes through my computer if I'm going to do it through the TV. I'm going to do it. I'm going to pull it up right now on the computer. Doop, doop, doop. Yeah, and I'm going to be distracted. Did I say the Red Sox game? I don't know. I'm not listening to myself. You know? I don't know why you're listening to me either. I have nothing worth saying, okay? I'm going to say it anyways. That's kind of what I do. You know, it's just a lot of bullshit coming out of my mouth, right? That's how this works. You know, this doesn't support 4K. What the fuck? What? Oh, alright, that's the 4K stream. I want the regular stream. Also, my computer does have 4K. You guys don't care. Nobody cares. Alright, I got it up. The Yankees are up 2. And the Dodgers are at the plate. You don't care. Alright. I don't know. Did you guys see that fucking Goomba? I mean, everybody saw that. Fucking try to steal the ball out of Mookie's glove. Look, I hate Yankees fans enough already, but if you hurt the sweetest young man to ever play the goddamn game of baseball, you should be executed by firing squad, and I should be allowed to be in that firing squad, alright? I don't know how to shoot a gun. I will learn how to shoot a gun just to execute a goddamn Yankees fan who is hurting Mookie Betts, alright? That is my promise to you people. Alright, what is up? What is up? What has this week been for you? You know, you could respond in the comments. You know, you could tell me how your life's going. You know, there's a lot of listening to me talk, but I don't ever get to hear you talk. Okay, my loyal listeners. All right. Yeah, it is. Let's see. It is Tuesday, October 29th. As I struggle to find the right angle to make this sound correct. And I think it's just never going to happen. Because I don't like talking into it like this, because then it feels like fucking, you know, like I'm doing fucking NPR. That's how it feels to me. But, you know, I'm going to talk anyways. Alright, that's what we're doing. We're doing this fucking podcast. You know, I don't have a lot of good ideas this week, if we're being quite honest. I feel like I haven't fucking, I don't know, I've got the worst fucking writer's block right now. Just nothing good's coming out, you know? It's good, it's like, I can come up with a lot of stuff that's like funny-ish, but it's not good enough for the fucking stage. Alright, just I'm not dedicated to any of my new shit in the last couple weeks. That's kind of how it goes. You should have like a period where you're just like, hey, everything is fucking working, to the point where you have like a bunch of ideas that you like half bake, and they're like getting there on stage. I should have got water before I started doing this. Mom. Yeah, she's not gonna do that. She's gonna say, "Get you a fucking water." Because I'm a fucking goddamn 26-year-old man who doesn't, shouldn't be living with his parents. But this is Joe Biden's America. All right, it is. Let's see, it's the last podcast I'm gonna do before the election. That's exciting. What do we want to talk about? Tony Hinchcliffe. At the Friends of Frank Fay rally at Madison Square Garden. That's a reference that nobody gets. But, okay, so Frank Fay was the first stand-up comedian. He came out of vaudeville. He was, like, the first MC in vaudeville who didn't have, like, a shtick beyond just, like, literally telling jokes. And, he was also, a virulent anti-Semite and American Nazi supporter. And that in 1946, after the Nazis had fallen to the United States, kind of, a rally was thrown in his name by Franco supporters and the KKK at the original Madison Square Garden, where they like took Nazi banners and made them American, and they called it the Friends of Frank Fay rally. He's actually the inspiration for the male character in the movie A Star Is Born. I forget who his wife was. Maybe Barbara Stanwyck, something like that. Yeah, I don't know. That's just like an interesting factoid about the world. Is that the first stand-up comedian, he might have been a neo-Nazi, he might have been a piece of shit, but at least he was a better stand-up comedian than career open micer Tony Hinchcliffe. Look, I don't know. I feel like I can say this stuff because his audience is never going to be my audience. I used to like tell a lot of jokes on stage, that I don't anymore, specifically around race and women, because I realized that just some men in the audience were not understanding the fucking joke. It's like, yeah, I'm satirizing you. I don't mean this shit. This is not a rally. I'm telling jokes here. It's not that deep. Please stop whooping up my jokes as if I'm on your side. You don't know what fucking side I'm on. So, I try to avoid leaning into too much of that bullshit. Because, like, most people in the audience fucking got it, Most of the ladies got it. Most of the guys got it. But then you just get one guy who you're just like, yeah, and you're like, all right, no, okay, we know. I don't know if I tell this one anymore. That's the fucking struggle we're going through here. I don't know. That's the thing. The most offensive part of that set to me was not, like, I'm all for a good racist joke. Just don't be a fucking hack. I feel like the type of joke he would make about another comedian making a joke like that is like, that joke's lazier than the Guatemalans he thinks are Mexican or something like that. Like that's you don't get to pretend you're like it's just stand-up comedy, jokes are jokes, like, why is everybody too sensitive? I go for both sides, and then only ever make fun of one side. And then do a literal political rally, where it's like, dude, if he did it, and he just did a set, and he made fun of Trump and Republicans, and didn't actually endorse anybody, I'd be like, that's a weird move, but like, yeah, you're just being a comic, but if you're actually like fucking getting up there and stumping for somebody who is so easy to make fun of, and you act like you're the roast guy, and you don't make fun of them, you're a fucking pussy. You can make fun of those people to their face, and then tell me that you make fun of everybody. Alright, if you want to fucking do that, yeah, sure, go for it. But you're fucking, I don't know. That's I could just never want that fucking, like, shitty Austin audience. That's why I would never move to Austin to do stand-up comedy. It's just, like, I'm already the edgelord of Boston. I really don't need to go to a place that is filled with way less funny edgelords. Not that I'm that fucking good, but every Austin comic that comes to Boston, with the exception of a few who are very fucking funny, fucking bombs. And then they just get up on stage and complain that everybody's being a woke libcuck. And it's like, no, maybe you're just not funny. You ever think of that? Maybe you're just fucking pandering to a bunch of morons. You know? And look, I don't hate, people on the right. I literally went to school in the South. A lot of my friends are Republicans. It's just like, it's because they're smart people who have, like, nuanced opinions. That's all I'm fucking saying. I don't know. I'm not a political person, alright? I don't like the left either. I think they're fucking, whatever. That's the thing. This fucking hiss is driving me fucking crazy. I don't know if anybody can hear this listening. I'm going to try noise reduction, because do you really need an audiophile level podcast where it's like, yeah, I'll take the hiss because I get a little extra clarity. All right, I hear the overtones in the vibrations of his vocal cords. There's like some fucking serious jazz listeners listening to me do my fucking podcast. Be like, I don't like the mastering on this. All right, we're gonna need to, this isn't. Is this analog? This isn't analog. There's no way this is analog. All right. Is there? I want to have an analog podcast. I'm gonna start making tapes and distributing them to people on the street. Can we get this pressed to vinyl? I admittedly, I'm the type of person that would want to buy something like that. But like, I'm not that much of a, I don't know. Guys, I don't have much to talk about this week, okay? I'm fucking grasping for straws here, okay? I don't have any funny ideas. Jesus. I don't know. Dude, I'm fucking burnt the fuck out, alright? I have been dog sitting for, let's see, I'm finally have some fucking goddamn time to myself. Since literally last Tuesday night, I have spent all of my time that wasn't out doing comedy being stalked by adorable animals. Alright, that is what I was staying in Charlestown, let's see, Wednesday to Friday. I was watching a dog named Rory, yellow lab, what a sweetheart. But I was watching her, and then Thursday I had a second dog with us, a little mini Dashin named Stewie. He rules. And then Friday and Saturday and yesterday and Sunday I had my dog thrown into the mix there, and it's just like, dude, can you leave me alone for one goddamn second? Can I go to the bathroom without you banging at the door and crying? Can you just leave me the fuck alone? Why did they require, like, dogs are supposedly easier than kids. Why do they take so much fucking work? You want to just play all the time. You want to be pet all the time. I don't think I have the patience for that. I'm starting to blame my parents slightly less for yelling at me so much as a kid. Just like, yeah, I must have been annoying as fucking shit. How do people do this all the goddamn time? I don't understand. You just do it 24/7? Just 24/7, you just have a kid. Just up your ass, just fucking asking you questions that don't matter. What's this? I don't know. Touch it and see what happens. I can't explain everything to you. You're not gonna take my explanation. Like, I don't know if I could do it, man. I don't think it's okay. I don't think it's right to do. I think you can have a kid. It's your right. But also, like, it is selfish. You're not having a kid for unselfish reasons, all right? You think you are, but you're not. There's nobody unselfishly having. I don't care how much you think it's a noble thing to do to create life. You're doing it for yourself. You're doing it because you want a purpose. You're not doing it for the kid. You know why I know that? Ask yourself. Like, have you ever had the thought of, like, I didn't ask to be born? Of course you have. Because none of us want to be alive right now that bad. True, life is all suffering. And there's plenty of beauty in it. That's what gets you through. That's what gets me through. Is, I just try to have fun all the time. Because, fuck it, we're gonna die. But, like, don't pretend that's for them. It's for you. It's because you want a reason to get out of the bed that is more than just your own narcissistic purposes. Because at a certain point, you get fucking sick of yourself. And you're like, you know what? If it's all just me serving my own self-interest, it's not worth it, right? So you have a kid so you can live for something else, and that kid goes, why the fuck did you do this to me? And then they complain about you in therapy for the rest of their life, okay? And then you resent them because you don't know what I did for you and how much I sacrificed for you. And it's like, yeah, but you did that for you. Also, you did that because you're not a piece of shit and you don't want me to die. You know? Yeah, you could have not made all those sacrifices. That would have just made you a monster for neglecting a human child and letting them suffer. Even though you're letting them suffer anyways, because life is just suffering. This is my Buddhist podcast, everybody. Okay? Just accepting the suffering. Speaking of suffering, Phil Lesh from the Grateful Dead, a hero of mine, just died. I've been in mourning all weekend. That's probably part of why I don't have any ideas. I haven't really been thinking about shit to talk in a podcast because I've been, just connecting with my friends and, yeah, I mean, I don't know, man. It's really, I don't know. Most of you aren't deadheads, probably, so I don't think I could ever explain what the Grateful Dead means to myself and means to other people. I might as well try. Well, Phil was the bassist, and I mean, I guess I'll preface all this by saying, Jerry Garcia once said that, we didn't create the Grateful Dead, the audience did, and we were just in line with everybody else to see what happened. And, I mean, it's true, they're a band that started 59 years ago, and, I'm 26 years old, and they mean just as much to me as they do to somebody who's, 82 and was there when it happened in the beginning, because it hasn't stopped. Jerry Garcia died, and it kept going. Phil Lesh stopped playing, kicked the drummers out, it kept going. Phil stopped playing with everybody else, Bobby and the drummers formed a band, it kept going. They kicked one of the drummers out, now it's down to just two, it keeps going. Because it's not just about the band, the band, we don't really even need the band. I mean, we do in a sense, but one day these guys are all going to be gone, and Grateful Dead music is still going to be played, and it's just going to be just as popular as ever. And it's because there's a certain person of every age group that just needs the music, and more importantly, they need each other, and they need the community. And there's just a certain type of misfit who doesn't get how other people act in every other sense of society, but they understand Deadheads, and I think what's magical about that music and that community is it's a place where, you're allowed to fail, and you're allowed to look stupid, you're allowed to, be a fucking straight white guy and dance at a concert like a little kid, and, run around acting like a child and be hopelessly naive and sweet, and instead of being mocked like everywhere else in society, it's encouraged, it's accepted, it's it's a place where you're allowed to be your least self-conscious self at all times, and to let yourself go and to not care. And I think it's a really amazing thing for the people who need that, is just a place where you don't have to fucking put up your defenses, where you can just let go and be free. And it goes for the band too, it's an environment where there's this mutual trust of like, I'll let you be you if you let me be me, where you can go and see your favorite songs and the band can fuck up the lyrics or screw up, where they are in the chord progression and the solo, and instead of everybody getting upset and going, wow, you ruined my night because you ruined my favorite song, everybody laughs along and goes, hey, you're human, where, they're jamming, they're not just playing the song the way you've heard it before, they're playing the way it feels for them in the moment, they're not trying to bring something into the music and go, hey, I'm going to take you here. They're letting the music take them. You know, the music plays the band, you know? And, I don't know. I mean, it's not just a band. It's not just a community. It's a way to see life, you know? And it's a way to, like, find yourself and find people who are like you and go, you know, like, I mean, fuck, man, like, I never really found a place where I fit in high school or college or even starting comedy. You know, I got friends in all these places, but, like, that wasn't where I belonged. But when I found the Deadheads, I was like, I'm home, you know? And to lose a major part of that is to lose, you know, a major part of my life. I mean, I've seen this guy in concert 18 times, and I was hoping it was supposed to be, I mean, it was supposed to be 19 in August, and I flew out to San Francisco, and the day I was flying out, it was announced he got COVID, and he was doing like 2 YouTube videos a week right before that, and hadn't made one since, and I kind of knew. I mean, he had started looking like really frail between, the last few years. I mean, the drop off between like spring 23 and summer 23 was glaring. And people I know who are in the know basically said he was having a third bout with cancer and just hadn't announced it because he knew. And I'm assuming he never just recovered from COVID properly. But yeah, I mean, I think what was so special about Phil is, you know, this guy who's, you know, he wasn't a trained bassist. He was a classical music nerd who started playing jazz when he switched from violin to trumpet, and then started studying avant-garde neoclassical composition under Luciano Berio, and was supposed to go to Italy to study under, you know, Stockhausen and John Cage and Berio and a bunch of others, and he ended up not doing that, but he moved to he ended up, you know, befriending Jerry Garcia and went to their first gig, and Jerry sat down with him after the show and was like, you're our new bass player, basically. And he had never played bass before, and he was like, okay. He just knew in that moment, you know, whatever this path, you know, and that's it. That's that mindset of, like, you know, I might be this thing, but if something in life feels right, and, you know, it might not be part of the plan, but if it just feels right, do it. Just fucking leave life up to fate. And that's what the music's about. It's about, okay, it's not, the song doesn't go this way. This is how the structure of the song works, but we're going to get off that structure. You know? We're never going to play the same thing the same way twice. We're never going to be afraid to take a risk musically and go, hey, I want to lead us in this direction. Okay, well, what happens if you fail? Well, what happens? You know? Is this, yeah, in some sense we're always looking for perfection as any artist, you know, but I don't know. With Phil, I mean, like, even the way he played bass, you know, most basses just, they create a pocket for, you know, them and the drummer create a backbeat and a rhythm for the other members to solo over, right? And to play over. Phil was pushing the band just as much as Jerry. He was literally a co-lead with Jerry on a bass. Which is, who else does that? He was playing counter melody. He's essentially playing Bach as a rock and roll bassist on top of a rhythm guitarist who patterned himself after McCoy Tyner in the John Coltrane Quintet, and a drummer who patterned himself after Elvin Jones, and a lead guitarist who was basically playing Freddie King with a bunch of, you know, bluegrass licks thrown in there. And they're all pulling and all the pushing and pulling, and, you know, you have a blues organist and harmonica player, and you eventually add a percussionist who's playing march music, and adding, you know, Brazilian and Japanese rhythms, and then they started introducing each other to Indian music and understanding polyrhythms and modalities better. And most of you don't even know what the fuck I'm talking about. And that's it. It's, you know, let's just take it as far as we can. Let's see how far we can follow our impulses and just lose ourselves in what we're doing. And just have fun. And operate without fear. And never be afraid to make a mistake. Never be afraid to go too far out there. Because what are we doing it for? You know, the appeal of a bunch of people who don't get what we really want to do? Or are we doing it because we really like what we're doing? And it's fun. And we don't want to take the thing we love to do and make it, you know. Do you want to be the Rolling Stones doing the same songs the exact same way for 60 years? Or do you want to always be living for right now? You know? And just letting life lead you and not trying to, you know, take control of your own life, but accepting that you don't really have that much control over your own life and going, well, I'm just going to let life lead me. I'm just going to go for it. You know? And I that's how I see comedy, you know, and that's how I really... I mean, unfortunately, I know a lot about being afraid to make mistakes. And a lot about, you know, never being willing to take chances because you don't know what the impact is going to be. And that just leads to a lot of regret in life, you know. And I think the way I see, that's really when I started reading Jack Kerouac and Ken Kesey, and I learned about the Further Bus. And what the Further Bus was Ken Kesey was a writer who wrote One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest, and him and his friend group, he was a laureate he was a Olympic level wrestler who went to Oregon on a scholarship, and he ended up you know, becoming he was an English major, and he was so esteemed in that program. They became a laureate at Stanford, and they moved into this bohemian neighborhood there, and he ended up partaking in trials at the Stanford student hospital, and he was a subject in MK Ultra tests, and it turned him on to psychedelics, and you know, they showed him that there was a lot more possibility. There was a lot more under the surface of life, you know, if you're willing to look for it. You know, there's a really thin veil, and once you're able to see a little bit past that, you know, even for a temporary amount of time, you know, it gives you this sense of, you know, I can be anything. I don't have to be what everybody told me I have to be, you know. I can take those risks. If, you know, and, you know, it's tough because, you know, I mean, when I found those realizations myself, you know, I found that nobody really wanted to go with me. And that really fucked me up for a long time, is, you know, being so excited to be like, hey, I think I really found my purpose in myself. And everybody going, hey, man, that's a little too weird for me. And I think, like, what the dead community epitomizes is just that. It's just living life without a roadmap. You know, there's no destination. There's no route we're taking. There's just wherever we're going is just further. We're just gonna let life take us. You know? And that, you know, so Kesey and his friend group ended up, you know, it was a bunch of artists and intellectuals who were having fun, you know, doing a bunch of psychedelics and hanging out up in, you know, the Redwoods, Northern California, and he was releasing his second book, Sometimes a Great Notion. So they bought a 1939 International Harvester school bus, painted it in day-glow colors. And this is before, you know, hippies were a thing or psychedelia was a thing. They just painted it bright neon psychedelia and drove it across the country. And, you know, this is before people were afraid of hippies or anything like that. So people were excited to see them because they were like, wow, why are these people having so much fun? Why are these people look so free? And that's the point, is, you know, the destination isn't the destination. The destination is further. It's treating life like a grand adventure. Treating music like a grand adventure. Treating comedy like a grand adventure. It's like, I'm not up there to fucking really impress anybody, or you know, I'm not there to be perfect. I'm not looking to get famous or, anything like that, I mean, I want to be successful in the sense that I want to be able to, like, make a living for myself, but, I mean, beyond that, this is fun, I mean, the best compliments I ever get, and I got it again this weekend, is, it's not, wow, that was so impressive, is you just look like you're having so much fun up there. Because I am. Because that's all I want to do anymore. I mean, when I started comedy, I was still, I was so stuck on, like, trying to be perfect all the time and getting all these jokes down. And can I make his joke as difficult for myself to pull off as possible, just so I can prove to everybody that I can do it. And that, it feels good when you pull it off, but most of the time you're just sit around fucking going, that was almost right. It was almost good enough, And now to me, good enough is like, well, I kind of fucked that thing up, but, like, that was a really fun set. I was having a lot of good sets that didn't feel like good sets because, I didn't pull things off right. And I was probably having bad sets that felt like better sets than they were because, well, didn't go exactly perfect, but at least I got the structure and the wording and the timing and everything down, and, I think Phil Lesh, even more than anybody else in the Dead, he epitomizes what that means to my life and to a lot of other people's lives, is, truly living, to experiment and venture, and to, live life to the fullest, because you only have one, and it's really not worth trying to, adhere to all these, like, standards and, impositions that society put upon you. It's, let's just find our people, and if that's insular and that's, shutting out, the rest of the world, whatever, let's just, as Ken Kesey once said, we don't know where we're going, so we have to stick together in case someone gets there. And I think that's, that's how I choose to live my life, is just, for here and now. And it's not about, where this set takes me or who it's going to impress. It's about, am I enjoying this thing I love? Is this thing that means so much to me enjoyable to do? Because if it's not, then why the fuck am I doing it? And for me to do that and be satisfied, it's to always be willing to take a risk. Because I'm not trying to just, like, okay, this is safe. This joke is safe to tell. I know it's going to work. And I know the audience is going to accept this premise. And I know they're going to be comfortable with me when I say this. And I know it's not going to ruffle any feathers. And, I'm going to be able to have a really good set. That's never fun for me, It's never fun for me to do. Every comic will tell you, it's not fun to kill with old jokes. It's not fun to kill with shit works. What is fun is taking that risk. I mean, for me now, like, the whole thing lately on stage is, like, I just always want to improvise. I have the jokes that I can always fall back on, but in between the jokes, even within the structure of the jokes, even within just how I deliver the jokes, right? Because the wording's, I mean, it's a joke, so, like, the wording is generally down at a certain point, but different inflections, different timing, different pacing, different, body language, all these little things that affect how a joke works. For me, all of those things now are about being in the moment and connecting with the audience. And I think that's the special thing about Grateful Dead music, is there's genuinely no separation or no barrier between performer and audience member. There's no, it's a mutual energy thing where we feed on each other, where, they can only do what they do because of what we're giving them. You can listen to a Grateful Dead show from New York, and then you listen to one from California, and it's a radically different thing. And it might be the exact same songs generally. I mean, they never did the same set list twice, except 2 shows in 1968. I know too much about the Grateful Dead, but it's, in a New York crowd, it's New York City. It's high energy, on edge, like, what do you have to give me? It's wrestling with a rowdy audience and trying to get them in the mind meld, whereas the West Coast thing, it's laid back, it's New York shows are intense, scary, drippy, or intense, like, scary, hard edge psychedelia, and West Coast shows are, drippy, mellow, like, let's just sit in the moment and see where it takes us psychedelia, It's adaptive to the moment, It is, a Grateful Dead show is, it changes, it means something different on the day of the week, right? Going out on a Friday night feels different than going out on a Wednesday night, and that's in the music. The time of the year, being outside in nice weather in the summer feels different than being inside on a cold winter day. And you feel that in the music. It's whatever's going on in the world, whatever anxieties you have in your own life, whatever anxieties everybody else in the crowd does, whatever you're working through, whatever the band's working through. It's where we're all at in life on that given day. That's what you feel in that music, Every Grateful Dead show I've been to and that I listen back to isn't just a show I went to. It's the soundtrack to that exact moment in my life. And, this is a hard loss. It happened in, you break down, you start crying, calling all your friends, telling them you love them. How do you explain that to somebody else, How do you explain why you've been to, I think 89 shows with an original member of the Grateful Dead? How do you explain that, Because they just think, oh, it's just a concert, you've been to concerts before, but it's more than that. I feel more at home on the road following the Dead than I do in my own house. That I do around comedians than I do even around my friends. It's... Yeah, there's just a certain person who needs that. And it's really insane when you're, Like, I was in Chicago last year on the final tour, and I'm just at this bar with my friends after one of the shows, and this middle-aged woman comes up to me and just starts asking me about, what it means to me, and how many shows I've been to, and where I'm from, and all that sort of stuff, and she had terminal cancer, and it was her last show, and she didn't want me to feel sorry for her. She wanted to thank me for keeping the community going, and because there's gonna be a kid after me who needs it, who needs people like this, and Phil's a major part of that, He's one of the most important ones. Since Jerry died, he's the one who really fostered the scene more than anybody. Dead and Company brought it back to like a stadium touring thing, but Phil spent his later years in life with Phil Lesh and Friends, which is a constantly rotating and evolving group of musicians, where he was constantly fostering younger musicians and giving them exposure to a wider audience and teaching them the lessons he learned throughout his life about what music really means to him. And that's what it's all about. It's just paying it forward. That's what the name Grateful Dead means, is it stems from the idea of, a wayward traveler who comes upon like a dead person whose debts aren't paid in life, so they can't pass into the afterlife, so he pays their debts, and later he's encountered by either an animal or a mysterious traveler who then saves his life, and then he realizes that it's the spirit of the lost soul that he saved who needs to then repay that debt in order to truly pass on to the afterlife. And that's all it's about. It's about karma. It's about paying it forward. And helping your brother. And it's a lot deeper than just music. It's a way of life. It's a way of thinking. It's a way of everything. And most people probably just think that's a bunch of hippie bullshit, but to me it isn't, and to a lot of fucking other people it isn't. So yeah, rest in peace, Phil Lesh. Yeah, I don't know. We can move on to happier subjects, but yeah, I just needed to get that all out there, 'cause, if you don't get it, you'll never get it, but might as well say it, And if you do get it, I didn't even have to say it, 'cause you already know. But, let's see. Where are we at on time right now, as the Yankees are about to close out this fucking game? 40 minutes? Are you fucking kidding me? That fucking flew. Alright. Let's see. Alright, the election's coming up. That's interesting. I don't know. I had a long fucking post on Instagram, shitting on, whatever. I don't fucking... Nobody should listen to me about politics. Alright, I'm not a political person. I'm anti-politics, really. I don't believe in the political solution to really anything, alright? I don't think that... I mean, realistically, anybody who craves power is wrong. Anybody who leads isn't fit to lead. Simple as that. Anybody who wants to do that is not fit to do that, alright? That's genuinely how I fucking see it. But certain people are certainly fucking less fit to do those things, and, yeah, man, I don't know. It just drives me fucking nuts to see how fucking selfish people are in this goddamn world. It's like, I mean, none of you give a shit about what I have to say, alright? I understand that, but I'm gonna say it anyways. It's just, I don't know. I hate to see the hypocrisy of people who try to act like giving a shit about other people is like a threat to them. Make America great again. Take our country back. From what? From who? Who's taking? I don't see anything as something to be taken. I don't fucking own anything. Alright, I understand that. Alright, I don't have land. I don't have a business. But, like, for fuck's sake, man, like... If you care about the country, you care about everybody in the country, right? Isn't that what it's supposed to be about? It's like... If you care about freedom, right? If you care about freedom of speech, right? It's like, the left is trying to outlaw freedom of speech. It's like, no, they're not. At no point have they ever done that. You're talking about private businesses telling you can't send death threats and racial epithets to people? Are you saying that is limiting your freedom of speech? Freedom of speech means that the government cannot put you in jail for saying something. It doesn't mean that there aren't consequences to your fucking actions, okay? It doesn't mean that as a comedian you can say something on stage and people won't get pissed off about it, right? They can. It's their complete fucking right. Guess what? If half the shit you're saying on stage is pissing off most of your audience, you're not a good fucking comedian, okay? I meant to do this earlier in the Tony part, but like, if you care about freedom, right, then you think anybody should be able to call themselves whatever they want. You think they should be able to do with their body whatever they want. You think they should be able to, You say you're about freedom, but you think drugs should be illegal. You think people shouldn't have the freedom to do what they want with their own consciousness. You think that if somebody believes that, their gender identity doesn't fit what they feel inside, that it's your right to tell them that they're wrong. Maybe, I'm not a fucking scientist. I don't know. Right? I'm not a psychologist either. So I don't know what those people are going through. But you know what? I think it's their fucking right to be whatever the fuck they want. Because that's actual freedom. It's It's like, oh, I don't want my tax dollars going towards fucking making sure that kids who don't have money can fucking eat a goddamn school lunch. It's like, yeah, you know what? You don't want your tax dollar. You're a piece of shit. That's what I think you are. All right? You're a bad human being. If you think that in living in a country, living in a society where we need to publicly fund things to get shit done, that you shouldn't have to pay into that. That all of the things that the government does for you are good because they benefit you, but when it comes out of your paycheck and benefits somebody else, well, now they're imposing on your freedom. You know? You want to talk about imposing on your freedom? Fucking, alright, look at the Second Amendment. Alright? Right? Second Amendment was specifically worded so that we could have guns in order to form a well-regulated militia in case the country gets invaded, right? Specifically because the government was not intended to have a standing army, which we didn't until, I forget when, but I believe it was 1840s, but, we were specifically forbidden from having a standing army because they saw what the British did, and they thought that what would be used as an instrument of defense in foreign warfare would then be used as an instrument of tyranny domestically, right? Right. So if you're pro freedom, you're anti-military, right? That adds up to me. That's literally what the founding fathers were saying. So if you disagree with me right now, you're actually saying that you don't believe in the Constitution. See, we can play these games all fucking day long. You know? They weren't rebelling against the notion of taxes. They were rebelling against the notions of taxation without representation. That they wanted to have elected representatives in Parliament in England. It wasn't against the notion of a healthy functioning society where, you know, you pay your fucking dues. You know? When America was at its richest, when it was, in the post-war boom, we had a marginal tax rate of up to 95% on income over $200,000. I'm not even going to do the math on what that would be now. Right, so if any money you made over $200,000, 95% of that would go to the federal government. Right? That is when America was at its richest. So if you want to bring back 1950s America, you're saying that you want a marginal tax rate of over 95%, right? That's what the conservatives want. They want a nuclear America where we, a pre-hippie America. That's what they want. They want a pre-hippie America. They want an America before personal expression, before you could dress like you want, before you can talk how you want, before you can think how you want. They want to pretend it's a fucking Leave It to Beaver again. And, you go to your fucking shitty job and your wife stays home and you have this white picket fence and 2 kids and there's no black people as far as you can see. Right? That's what they want. They don't want actual freedom. Not for other people. They don't give a shit about poverty. They don't give a shit about the homelessness crisis. They want it out of their face. And I think the left is just as fucking guilty as a lot of this shit, especially Democrats. I mean, I don't think, Here's the problem is I don't believe in either of these fucking parties, right? But I know one is clearly significantly more selfish. Because guess what? The shit I'm talking about with taxes and things like that, both parties are against all those things. Both parties are completely in the pocket of big business, We live in a fascist country. We live in a country where private business and the government are intertwined. And it's been that since 1973 when fucking Richard Nixon made it legal to lobby on Washington. And whatever you had left has been gone since Citizens United was passed in 2004, all right? You don't have true freedom of choice in this country, okay? No matter who you vote for, they're in the pockets of all the people who are controlling us at all times, okay? So spare me the fucking patriotism and the freedom bullshit, because you don't actually believe in freedom. You don't believe in true personal freedom, okay? You don't. And if you do, it's in a hypocritical sense. You're saying what you think is freedom is the ability to say a bunch of slurs on the internet. Okay? That's what you think freedom is. You think freedom is to never have a dollar come out of your paycheck to help another person. You don't believe in Social Security. You don't believe in welfare. You don't believe in helping sick kids. You don't believe in helping homeless people. You don't believe in helping the mentally ill. You don't believe in helping, I don't want to fucking rip off George Carlin, but yeah, you don't believe in fucking... If you believe in life, then you believe in the living. You believe in taking care of people who need help and not letting fucking circumstances somebody are born in to decide their life. But you don't care about those things, all right? Care about yourself. Care about how it affects you. You care, How come these same people are the ones who are marching on Washington and fucking attacking cops and trying to murder Nancy Pelosi and AOC? But then they fucking turn around and say that, they believe in Jesus. It's like, wasn't Jesus the one that said, if they strike you, turn the other cheek? Jesus was a hippie pacifist. It wasn't you people. He wasn't a Democrat either. He was a hippie. Right? I guess what I'm saying is I'm Jesus. Alright? And thank you for listening to my podcast. Alright, this is the Second Coming podcast. No. It is the second coming of this podcast, though. I don't know. I don't have a lot of hope for the future. I really don't. But, I do think one is going to be a little less bad, right? It's the real question is, how fast do you want this empire to decline, okay? Do you want to give it a couple more years, or do you just want it to, really just fucking, just shit to pop off and go south pretty quickly? Right? If you, I don't know. If you believe either of these people are going to be the solution to any of our fucking problems, alright, you're wrong. But I do know that we have a lot better of a chance at, a fair and balanced future. Not even fair and balanced, but a slightly more balanced future. If it isn't all run by one group, You talk about, these same people complain about, say, communism and say, well, it's one party rule, that's not freedom, right? Well, isn't that what they're advocating with, taking over the Supreme Court? Or does that not actually matter when it fits your needs? Because really, you're just an authoritarian using the guise of freedom. It's like, oh, the FBI is being used as an instrument of the Democrats. Yeah, I think that's really bad, and I think that's a complete threat to our fucking freedom and democracy. But using local police forces to do the same thing for Republicans is just as bad. You don't see that? You don't see fucking violently cracking down on peaceful protest as a threat to freedom? Because that's the actual threat to freedom of speech. Is violently policing public gatherings where they say that they disagree with the government. That's the actual threat to freedom of speech. It's not because you got banned for saying the M-word on Twitter, okay? I don't know. This isn't a very happy podcast, guys. It's not that, It's just like, hey, somebody that means a lot to me died, and I don't have any hope for the future. But please come to my comedy shows because, those are pretty funny. I'm a lot funnier when I got written material to fuck with. And I got an audience to play off of. Yeah, I don't know. Guys. Is this any good? People have been complimenting the podcast, by the way. It terrifies me that anybody listens to it. I prefer to just shoot things out and pretend it's happening and avoid. But no, there's real human impact of my words, and that's crazy, because I don't think I have that much worth saying, alright? I just went all these fucking rants about things that matter to me, and politics, just knowing that my voice truly doesn't fucking matter, okay? But I have the right to say it, and I have the right to anger you, because, it's what I do, and, maybe I'm just rehashing a lot of things I said on Instagram the other day, but, I'm still gonna fucking do it, alright? Because this is really just an exercise of, like I've said the last 2 weeks, this is just an exercise of me seeing if I can talk and try to find something funny without actually having to aim to do it, which is what Phil Lesh taught me. All right, see, we circled back. All right, that's a callback right there. I don't know. I guess I should talk about I'll talk about sports and then we'll get the fuck out of here. Yeah, the Yankees just took one game in the World Series. So now it's a 3-1 series. That's always fun. And let's see. The Boston Celtics, greatest team in NBA history. I'm willing to say that they are already the greatest team in NBA history. All right, I'm going to go out on a limb and say no matter what happens the rest of the season, I think the Celtics will end up with a better record than the Warriors, and I think we're going to repeat as champions because, who gives a shit what I say and what I predict? But the way I'm really liking what I'm seeing so far, I mean, Tatum's shots looking really good. He hasn't, hit everything, but he's shooting over 40%. Jalen's averaging 26 a game. Peyton Pritchard has taken a leap where I'm starting to think he's going to get the Sixth Man of the Year, all right. I know it's just been a couple games, but, I mean, if he shoots like this all season, I mean, who can take the Sixth Man of the Year award for him? Like, he looks fucking amazing. And, do you see that fucking video of him playing with that kid? Dude, that's, like, the coolest fucking shit ever. All right, like, I had, like, a lot of, I was very lucky as a kid. My family had season tickets to the Sox. So I got to have, like, a lot of cool interactions with a lot of baseball players. And, like, the way that makes a kid's day and it adds to his life and the way that's going to stick with him is just, like, so fucking cool. Like, I mean, one time when I was a kid, right, I was at a Sox game watching, like, the pitchers warm up, and Brad Penny, who was on the Red Sox at the time, nobody would play catch with him. Everybody had to play catch partner. And I was, like, joking. I was probably, like, I don't know, 11. And I was just like, I'll play catch with you. And then he just started playing catch with me and throwing the ball into the stands to me. And it's just like this moment I got to have where I got to play catch with, like, an actual MLB player at Fenway Park. And then he let me keep the ball. And it's like, yeah, those are, like, that's what life is really fucking about. It's those little moments like that. It's not fucking all the achievements you could have. I mean, what really is success? I mean, that's really what the Grateful Dead taught me, is that, to me, success is not doing something perfect or having the most fans or having the most money or getting the most pussy or any of that, It's not how many Netflix specials you have. It's not how many fucking tickets you can sell, right? It is just the impact on somebody's day you can make, and it's being able to live with yourself and going, hey, I'm doing good. I mean, I'm being true to myself. I'm being the most radically authentic version of myself I can be every single day, without fear of judgment or failure or criticism of just. My life is an example of just, like, if one person can go, I want to be like that. And I don't mean, like, in terms of being impressive or being cool. I mean, just if I could be myself and not be afraid, I mean, to me, that's what it's about. It's just being you and not being some fucking, automaton of, like, what fucking, what you're supposed to be, but being what you are deep down inside and not what you tell yourself you are so you can fit in. And yeah, I don't know. But then there's the negative side of hippies, like, Aaron Rodgers. Yeah, fucking Pats beat the fucking Jets. That was a great fucking football game. Drake May looks really good, worried about the concussion, I don't want a Tua Tagovailoa situation, I don't want this guy's brain to be mush in 3 years. But, awesome Jacoby Brissett could fucking pull that game out. And, yeah, I don't know. I mean, I really think, for all things considered, with how bad the Patriots are in a lot of ways, I do think that there's a bright future here. And I do think that the way they're rebuilding the roster is a lot in line of what Bill Belichick was doing. And I do think we'd be a lot better off with Bill Belichick in charge. But, yeah, I really like where we're going as an organization in terms of those things. And it's not there yet. I mean, but I think if you just give them the patience of, like, let have 3 or 4 years, keep some cap space open, figure out the right veterans to bring in, and keep bringing young people that can, like, fill the needs we have, which is really just, we need to build an offensive line out. Right, we still need to add weapons at receiver. And, I do think we could use probably a little more athleticism in the linebacking core. Yeah, I mean, I don't see what's gonna stop us from, doing something. Yeah, I think we could build a real team for the future. But I don't think drinking a bunch of ayahuasca and thinking that makes you a genius, and then going to the New York Jets, even knowing that they are a completely dysfunctional organization who doesn't understand how to fucking win a championship. I don't like when anybody gets too sanctimonious or holier than thou, which I realize is exactly what this fucking podcast is. But you know what? It's me, and I don't have any public criticism yet, so it's all just shit being talked behind my back. But you know what? Shit's being talked behind everybody's back at all times anyways, so you might as well be you. That's not just how I'm viewing comedy nowadays, where it's like, I'm not worried about fucking appealing to other comedians, alright? That's not who I'm trying to connect with. It's just, I'm trying to connect with, the type of people I want to be friends with. I'm not posting shit so other comedians or some girl I met and I want to impress think I'm cool. I'm posting so I'm like, whatever hypothetical audience I have one day in the future, they can see that I've always been this guy. I would rather fail being, like, my most authentic self and being as true to myself as possible and going, hey, here's this, and here's me, warts and all, than I would, to succeed just trying to get people to like me that I really wouldn't want to hang out with in the first place. I think that's, like, don't get me wrong, most of the audience is just people I wouldn't want to hang out with in the first place. And I want to be a good comedian. I'm a fucking professional. I'm going to have, I'm going to try to be able to appeal to any audience. But, like, in terms of, like, what I post on the internet and how I carry myself in terms of, those sorts of things, like, yeah, I'm trying to appeal to who I'm trying to appeal to. And if that turns a couple people off, it turns a couple people off. But, like, who gives a shit if another comedian doesn't like it, Who gives a shit? Life's too short to give a shit about that type of thing, Be just, I'm trying to give you a motivational speech. I don't know. I don't really have that much funny to talk about, so I'm just gonna rant about being, the hippies' view on life. But yeah, I mean, I don't know. I think if I look at myself at the end of my life, I would be really unhappy if I was really successful doing an act that really wasn't that true to me, or trying, and I don't have fun trying to post content for the sake of finding an audience that connects with the content so much as posting the content you want and hoping it finds the audience rather than the other way around. And I know that's going to take a lot longer and it's going to be a lot harder, and it's probably never even going to happen in the first place. But, that's what it's about, to me, that's why I do this, is because I enjoy it, and I'm hoping to find people who get it on an intrinsic level, but, or we're hoping they find me, but, it's not about, just trying to get everybody to like you and find success the quickest way possible, because I don't think that's a way to have lasting success. I mean, what do I know, but, I see, like, a lot of the most successful comedians in the world are just people I wouldn't want to be. They don't have acts I want, they don't have public personas I want, I don't want to be the next Bill Burr, and I love Bill Burr, he's maybe my favorite comic ever, I don't want to be the next Tom Segura. I don't want to be the next Shane Gillis. I don't want to be the next Mark Norman. I want to be the first Josh Goldstein, I want to be the only Josh Goldstein. It's a pretty common name, but I want to be the only, but you get my point. Alright, I want to be the only one doing what I do. I want to stand on my own and just, go, here it is. Like, this is it. And if I fail doing that, I fail doing that. But I'm not going to sit here and be fucking told by a bunch of people who are never going to fucking leave Boston, what I'm supposed to be in order to be professional. Or in order to be the most booked fucking regional headliner. It's like, great, so I can just play to a bunch of fucking 50 and 60-year-olds who don't get my sense of humor for the rest of my life, just so I can make $300. Is that it? Is that all you're fucking doing this for? And if it is, it is. Cool. Go for you. That's a good life, actually. If you can be a full-time comic and you enjoy that, because here's the thing. A lot of the people who are doing that, that's what they want to do. So I'm not going to sit there and judge them. That's a good life if you want to be a fucking artist for the rest of your life. Just being able to support yourself is a really fucking impressive thing. And I'm not going to fucking look down at anybody who just wants to do that. But that's just not how I see it, And I'm looking at it as like, alright, well, I can either do it the starving artist way in that sense, or I could try to figure out a way to get my shit together. So, like, I don't have to, do that shit to survive. I can do this shit. I don't have to take that gig I don't want just because I need the money. I can do the gigs I want and focus on the rooms I want and the people I want to work with so they can build me the connections to get the gigs I want, over time when I move to New York or whatever, so I can be what I want to be. But that's just me. And if you want to be that, that's you. It's not about worse or better or anything like that. It's just about, this is what I want to do. I want to do it my way. I don't want to do it anybody else's way. I just want to be true to myself. I don't know. Radical authenticity is just like the only thing I've ever really cared about. Really. Is like just being as true and free to yourself as possible. But I'm at like an hour and 8 minutes, so I should probably end this. But I don't know. I don't know who I'm doing this for. I don't know if anybody likes it. But this is who I am. So I'm just gonna, I guess the way I see it is most of this is just being listened to people I know and comedians. And, it's nice that you actually can understand where I'm coming from now. Instead of just projecting based on your own personal experiences and telling yourself what I am. You can disagree with me, you can still hate me, but this is what I am, I could be completely fucking wrong about all this, and that's fine. But I'd rather be wrong on my own than, whatever the alternative is. I'd rather fucking stand for my, own being and go, well, I'm gonna be wrong my way rather than be right your way. Because I think just life's too short for that, Is what else is it about? Probably gets redundant at a certain point of just me talking about this shit. I talk about a lot of the same shit every single episode, I think. It's repackaged slightly differently. There's themes here, guys, okay? It's like poetry, it rhymes. If you look deep enough. Alright, yeah, I guess this has been the podcast, because I'm not recording it again like last week, because it's, it might not be that funny this week, but, it's a lot less sad than it could have been last week, but it wasn't, because I re-recorded it after having a good night. Yeah, alright, yeah, this has been an episode. There's gonna be a new episode of every week, so, check back for that. I guess I should tell you where I'm gonna be this week if you're so inclined. Tomorrow or today I'm gonna be at Capo in Southie. It's October 30th. November 2nd, if you're living near the South Shore, I will be at the CBS scene, or the comedy scene. It's not CBS scene anymore. It's at some other place, but the comedy scene, Foxborough, Massachusetts, Patriot Place. And then those are my gigs until next Wednesday. But by then, I'm gonna have a whole new fucking episode for you people, and you'll get to listen to that. So you might as well stay tuned. Did I do anything else this week that was noteworthy? Thursday, where was I Thursday? I did Sea Thursday, that was fine. Saturday, I didn't do a gig. Sunday, didn't do a gig. Oh yeah, I want to say good luck to my buddy Andrew Vickers, moving out in Austin. I've known that guy since pretty much the first day I was doing comedy in Boston, and yeah, he's one of my best friends in the scene. Couldn't be a better guy. So yeah, just wanted to wish him and his family, his young baby daughter, the best of luck, in whatever he does, because I know he's gonna crush it. I mean, he's one of the most talented friends I have. Just genuinely a great guy, so I know he's gonna get a lot of work because everyone likes working with him, and he's very fucking funny. So yeah, good luck to my buddy Andrew, and good luck to all you people. All right, I hope you have a wonderful week. And yeah, that's been the podcast. Everybody check back later, and yeah, have a good week. Peace.